Hi there Star Wars collectors, and welcome to another Bossk Bounty video, and welcome to episode 174 of Ask Bossk Bounty. If you are new around here, this is the weekly Q&A series that drops on my channel every Sunday, where I take your questions from the comment section below and do my best to answer them. So if you want to be featured in the video next week, leave your question in the comment section below and hopefully you will be featured. If you do happen to enjoy the video, hit the like button, subscribe if you're new. And before we do get on to this week's questions, I just have a couple of things that I want to share with you. The first thing is, a couple of weeks ago I did a giveaway which was sponsored by Entertainment Earth, where I gave away a Endor bunker and a vintage collection speeder bike. The Endor bunker was claimed. Unfortunately, the winner of the speeder bike didn't claim in time. I gave them 7 days, although in reality I actually gave them 21 days, and I replied to their comments and everything. So unfortunately, buddy, I have had to redraw, and later on in the video you will see who has won the speeder bike. So good luck to everybody. The second thing is, I just want to say a huge thank you to a channel member called Dave Wells. He's a good buddy of mine as well. I've met him a few times at various conventions and what have you, and this arrived to my PO box. I haven't had anything to my PO box for a while, so it's a nice surprise to see this arrive. I had no idea it was coming, and it says there, Bossk Bounty, PO Box 2154, Worthing, BN12 9EW, if you wanted to send me a letter or something to open on the channel or something like that. And inside this package is a bunch of swag from Celebration. He did include a note, and he says, "Hi Tim, hope you're well. I was hoping to see you at Celebration to pass these on to you, but it was so busy and with so much to do, I never got the chance." Absolutely, man. It was crazy there. I saw these and thought I had to get them for you. It's not TVC, but something I don't think you have. Enclosed are 2 replica patches of the ones worn on the original Bossk Empire Strikes Back costume. They sound awesome. I've also included some other patches and stickers from Celebration, and you can fight little Bossk as to who has them. Please keep doing what you're doing, as the information you share on your channel keeps so many of us in the loop with TVC, and we wouldn't be able to keep up otherwise. By the way, I still blame you when my wife moans at me for when another box arrives, as you've got me back into collecting. Take care, and may the force be with you, Dave Wells. Yeah, sorry about that, Dave. I've had that effect on a few people that got them back into collecting, which is good news, isn't it? It's good news for the hobby. Having new people, you know, collect TVC, keep it going and everything. And here's just a selection of things that Dave has sent me, some patches, and I believe he's into cosplay. And yeah, there he is there. That's one of his cards there, dressed as a First Order Stormtrooper. There's some bits and bobs in here, stickers. There you go, he's in a Shore Trooper outfit there. A lot of dedication goes into cosplaying, to this standard anyway. So thank you so much for all this stuff, Dave. I really do appreciate it, buddy. And where are those Bossk patches? Here they are in a separate little baggie. Oh, these are awesome, man. So for anyone that doesn't know, they are on the shoulders of Bossk, and they look amazing. And I think I'm just going to put one of those in my Bossk cabinet with all my other Bossk stuff. So thank you so much, Dave. Really appreciate it, buddy. It was a great surprise getting that package arrive in the mail to the PO box. So once again, thank you, buddy. I really appreciate it. Noctilia says, question for next week: with plastic packaging returning, do you think that the deluxe packaging will switch to plastic bubble? Personally, as an inbox collector, the packaging has grown on me. I'm with you on that. I don't mind those deluxe packs, and I do think that there's probably too much in those deluxe packs for the most part anyway. Things like Boba Fett and everything could have been on a card back, but for the most part, those deluxe packs include various accessories which are probably too big for a bubble. So I'm all for those. I think with the plastic windows coming back, that's more for the Black Series collectors. We were lucky in that it never actually went away for the vintage collection, but I don't think that's going to change Hasbro's mind regarding those windowless boxes for the deluxes anyway. I think they're probably here to stay. But yeah, some people probably don't like them because you can't see the figure, but I think ultimately I quite like different things in the vintage collection, like the white boxes with the 4-pack of figures and everything. I quite like the mix that we get. It was the same in TVC 1.0 with the Ewok Scouts and the scanning crews. They were windowless boxes as well, so it's nothing new really. Rish Outfield says, question for next time. You mentioned that Wrecker might be too large for a vintage collection card. Is the Gamorrean Guard the largest figure they have put onto those cards? If not, which was the biggest? Well, certainly the Gamorrean Guard is a big dude, is he not? Really big figure. Big bubble on this card back here, but I'll probably say he's the widest or the fattest, dare I say. But I think there is some other big or fairly big figures in the vintage collection. If I'm just thinking about a couple, you've got General Grievous. He's quite a big figure, isn't he? He's a bit spindly, but he's quite tall. They've really packed him into that bubble. That's one of those larger bubbles as well. Probably one of the largest bubbles that we've got on a official normal TVC card back, so not including that Maldo crease with all the spiders and everything. And then possibly Darth Malgus. He's quite a big figure that's been packed quite tightly into his bubble. I don't have him to hand, he's packed away at the moment, but I'll put an image on the screen for you to see. But yeah, he's probably another one. But I'd probably say that Gammo Guard is probably at least the heaviest, which I think is also maybe one of the problems for Hasbro. When you think of Paz Vizsla, that's quite a heavy and big figure, and then you've got all of the accessories and everything, you know, and I think that the bubble would just be quite deep. I think it's not necessarily how wide it would be, it'd be how deep it is, and I think that's probably, and also the heaviness of it, that's probably on their minds when they're thinking about that sort of thing. Channel member Stephen Novak says, "Hi Tim, I'd like to hear your opinion on my idea for the next HasLab, whatever it will be. I would like to see them numbered, and you would get the HasLab that corresponds to when you backed it, i.e. if you were the 1435th backer, your numbered HasLab would be the same number with a certificate. Also, if they ever decide to re-release it, they would not be numbered. This way they would keep their value somewhat. Thanks Tim, may the force be with you." So what do I think about that? I think the only other sort of example of where they've done that was for the 30th anniversary. I think Lego did it for the Millennium Falcon. So the very first release of the Millennium Falcon, there was 10,000 made, and you had a numbered one, because I remember having mine was numbered something like 7,600 and something or other, so which was quite funny. And then they re-released it later on, like you say, without the numbering, without the certificate. So yeah, absolutely, that is definitely something Hasbro maybe could think about. I think it always comes down to sort of like slots at factories and things like that. So if they did a first run, would they be able to get a second run out there with all the other stuff that they're trying to get out at the same time? That kind of thing. There's also the demand for it. But yeah, I think if we're looking at the Barge, for example, as a good example, many people weren't able to get that because it was only available in the States, and I think if they did re-release it, it would do quite well, absolutely. But numbering, yeah, it's one of them things, isn't it? Because obviously you'd be absolutely ecstatic if you got something like anywhere between number 1 and number 10. Obviously number 1 would be absolutely awesome. That'd probably end up going to a Hasbro employee or something. But if you got something like 9,999, I'm not really too sure about the value of that. But as you say, if it got re-released, then yep, that would protect the value of it, if that's, you know, what you're into. Steve Luther says, "Dear boss, great video as always. I thank you for the heads up for the Boba Fett's throne room is back in stock on Pulse. However, my wallet does not. Just an FYI, that was the UK Pulse, not everywhere else, but hopefully maybe it will be in the future. Question for next week. Do you think it's likely we'll finally see Jango Fett in the vintage collection this year? It would seem like mostly reuse, and with the current popularity of Mandalorians, he seems like a no-brainer to me. Thanks very much. Keep up the good work." Yeah, you would think so, wouldn't you, that they would be able to easily do a new Jango Fett. I personally don't think that we will get a Jango Fett this year. That's just my thoughts around it. I think the perfect year to do it would be next year, or maybe for the anniversary of Attack of the Clones. It's a long time to wait though, isn't it? What's that, another 4 years or something? It's a long time to wait that. But like, if they were to do some kind of like celebration around the prequels in general, we have seen some Black Series prequel stuff be pipelined, so we know they're going to be getting some stuff next year. Then absolutely, I think Jango Fett, as you say, is a no-brainer and a pretty easy one for them to do. So I really hope that they do. Let's keep our fingers crossed, because I'm pretty sure a lot of people out there would like a new Jango Fett. Christopher Barton says, "Great episode, boss. Question for next week. With the release of Jedi Survivor, do you think there's a chance we'll get other characters from the game and Fallen Order in TVC to go along with Cal Kestis' figure? Hope you and your family are doing well." Thank you, Christopher. I think there's a chance, absolutely. That is why I've got this little setup here. These are the 4 figures that we have from Jedi Survivor at the moment. 3 of them were very easy for them to do and came in that 3-pack, because they're all basically repaints or retools. And then the only sort of new figure, newly tooled figure we have is Cal Kestis himself. I haven't actually played Jedi Survivor yet, so I don't really know anything about it in terms of what other characters are in it, apart from these 4. I did play Fallen Order and I absolutely loved it, and there's still characters from Fallen Order that I would like to see in figure form, namely the Inquisitors and things like that. But if you said to me, you know, what do you actually want in the vintage collection going forward, gaming figures in general for me would be quite near the bottom of my list, because ultimately I want figures from live action films and TV shows, background characters, things like that. I wouldn't say no to gaming characters, absolutely, I do like them, but they do come further down in the list. But in terms of the possibility of Hasbro doing them, I think Jedi Survivor looks to be a big success, and we've got the gaming greats in the vintage collection, so I would suggest we'll probably see more. Whether we'll see newly tooled figures is another thing. I think Hasbro might look at ways of getting out sort of easy retools, easy repaints, for the gaming side of things anyway. Miles Hook says, hey Tim, how do you celebrate May the 4th? What's your favourite movie, show? Sit in your collection room and just ponder the Star Wars universe, Ewok raves. I've got to be honest, mate, May the 4th for me comes at a time of the year where I have lots of family birthdays in and around that date. So my brother was 50 this year, my daughter was 14, and both of those birthdays are in and around May the 4th. So that always dominates that time of year for me. But actually on May the 4th, I'm scouring the internet for May the 4th deals, you know, hopefully some discounts, that kind of thing, sharing those with you guys. That's basically what I was doing on May the 4th this year, just trying to look for some discounts basically. Dion Evans says, hey, new subscriber and new TVC collector, just wanted to ask, what's the best way of keeping up to date with new announcements? Are there any specific outlets that would be good to get up to date info? Love the channel. So yeah, absolutely. I mean, in terms of YouTube, you know, my channel, I always make videos about the new announcements specifically for the vintage collection. If you wanted information on more broader products, Black Series, lightsabers, helmets, all that kind of stuff, then I would suggest yakface.com. Follow his Instagram, follow his Twitter. He always comes out of all the information. And then my good friends at Bantha Skull, if you're into websites, Bantha Skull review TVC figures and come out of all the news for the latest releases as well. John Loner says, thanks for another insightful episode. Tim, question for any week really. We got to see the Imperial troop transport transition from toy to the small screen and back to toy again. Is there another vehicle design that started life as a toy that you'd like to see on screen and eventually updated as a modern toy? Maybe a mini rig or even the cruise missile trooper. Absolutely, yes. What a great question. This is my number one want for Hasbro to make in terms of transitioning from toy. Hopefully this would be included in some kind of live action show. This is the Cap 2, the Kenner Cap 2. And the reason I've always loved this one, of course, is because back in the day we used to think this was Bossk's ship, because on the box art Bossk is piloting it. So that's the Cap 2. I'd also like to point out that the MTV7, is it? I think this is another Kenner mini rig, and this actually featured in one of the episodes of Star Wars Visions from season 2, which debuted on Disney Plus on May the 4th. And it was amazing seeing it in the show. Really, really good. I think it sort of rolled in, went like this, the bloke got in, and then it went off like that. I thought that was brilliant. And once again, if something like this could be in one of the new live action shows and then, you know, Hasbro make it as a toy, that'd be fantastic. Scolio Reset says, greetings Tim's question for next week, and sorry if it's already been asked. With the quality of the Imperial Officer sculpt being updated, which character do you consider a priority? As much as I would prefer General Veers, Tarkin would be amazing, and if ever released, the best option would be to have the figure along with Count Dooku. I'm sure you can understand why. So yeah, I mean, I think I could make a whole video about officers, Imperial officers and things like that, and the ones that I want in the vintage collection. But I think Tarkin for me, this is why I've got these two here. Tarkin for me would be a very, very high up on the list. However, we do already have him. He is ticked off. But as you can see, the difference in quality of the sculpt is immense. This guy is the wrong colour. He has a skirt. This new one of Piet is absolutely amazing, and it would be awesome for them to make more. However, I do think that the most important one is General Veers, and what I think they should do is they should use the original Kenner card back for the Imperial Commander, which does have an image of him in his grey suit. The figure, the Kenner figure, was an officer in his black uniform, so it'll be a way for Hasbro to correct that. Give us a General Veers with the likeness of General Veers in his grey outfit. on that card back and even name him General Veers, and then have like Imperial Commander in brackets underneath to sort of give a nod to the original 96. And then that's one of the original 96 ticked off. So that would be my first want, I think, for using this sculpt. But yeah, Tarkin is definitely up there amongst others. Via Vlog says, great video as always. Question for next week. Do you think they'll ever do a patrol trooper figure from Solo? It's recently appeared on the Jedi Survivor game as well. So as I mentioned earlier, I haven't actually played Jedi Survivor, and if the patrol trooper's in it, then fantastic. However, we don't have a workable sculpt that they could use, so it would have to be a new figure for that one. But would I like it? Absolutely. I loved the patrol trooper in Solo, even though he's in it for about half a second. He looked great. Really, really good design. Cross between a stormtrooper and a scout trooper. But yeah, let's wait and see what they do and how many they give us from the new game. All right then, so earlier on in the video, I did mention that I was having to redraw the winner for the Vintage Collection speeder bike. This was part of the giveaway that I did for 25,000 subscribers. It was sponsored by Entertainment Earth, and we gave away an Endor bunker and a speeder bike. The Endor bunker was claimed, the speeder bike unfortunately wasn't. So we are going to announce the winner in a second, but just a quick note about Entertainment Earth. There is a link in the description below. If you use that link, you are able to get 10% off anything on their site that is in stock. And also, if you use that link and spend over $59, I think it is, you also get free shipping. You do not need to enter any codes or anything, because if you use that link, all of that is handled for you. As I said, it's only on in-stock items, but using that link is also a way of supporting the channel. So if you wanted to support the channel, that is the way to do it. I get a very small commission based on sales through Entertainment Earth, but it also helps you because you get 10% off and free shipping of in-stock items. So win-win all round. But thank you to Entertainment Earth for sponsoring that giveaway. And the winner is Stephen Angel. And he says, I love this giveaway, and I've loved seeing the trajectory of this channel in the last few years. Here's to 50,000 US. The US there is because it was only available to US and people in Canada, because it was from Entertainment Earth. I did also do a giveaway for a Havoc figure for people in the UK. That has been posted, so the winner of that should already have got that. And I also did a giveaway for my Patreon supporters and channel members for this graded vintage Bossk out of my personal collection. And the winner of this was Nino Brown. Congratulations to Nino Brown. He's a channel member. And if you haven't watched the exclusive video, Nino, where you are the winner, then you are the winner. And you need to contact me with your address and everything so I can send this beautiful 85 graded Bossk. Alfonso Leon says, Hola Bossk, I love your videos. With the arrival of Admiral Piet in TVC, I realised that the rank plate is incorrect. Do you think that all of the Imperial officers that come out, Thrawn, Tarkin, and the ones that are to come, are going to have the wrong plate? Do you know of any way we fans can correct our figures? That badge really bugs me. I'm not too sure of a way that you can fix it. You might be able to sort of take it off and put your own one on there, but I'm not too sure how well that'll turn out. But the reason that they did that is because they are respecting the source material. So in Return of the Jedi, there was a costume error, and all of the officers have the captain badge, I think. Admiral Piet, he should have 4 bars of red and 4 bars of blue underneath. I think that's what it is, but he only has the 3. So I think Moff Gigerod is going to be exactly the same, even though he is a completely different rank as well. But I would hope if they were to do officers from other media that's not Return of the Jedi, like Thrawn, like Krennic and what have you, then they are going to have the correct rank badges. I think the only ones that are going to be incorrect are going to be from Return of the Jedi, because as I say, they're just respecting the source material. Master O'Connor says, Kia ora Bossk, love watching your content on Monday mornings. Question for next week, what do you think of the chances that the Mandalorian from the N1 Starfighter pack and the Scout Trooper being released as individual cards like they did with the latest Boba Fett figure? Both figures are definitive versions I've been waiting for, just not keen on shelling out the money or trying to find the space for the vehicles. Thanks heaps and keep it going. I've got to say, unfortunately, it doesn't look good, because I think the figures that you've mentioned that they have done, like that Boba Fett figure, they were in baggies basically within the vehicles that they came with. The history tells us that carded figures that come in play sets and vehicles just do not get released outside of those vehicles. Not yet anyway. They might wait a little while to do it, but you know, we haven't seen any of them yet to come out on single cards outside of the vehicles. So, you know, history tells us that it's not going to happen at this moment in time, unfortunately. Reckless Deck says, hi Tim, question for next week. If Hasbro were to do a 4-pack of Rebel pilots, do you think they'd ever put Antok Merrick as a loose figure in the pack like that? Or do you think they would include other new named pilots like Carson Teva, Trapper Wolf, or do you think those would end up being carded figures? Lastly, do you think we'll get a 4-pack of Children of the Watch Mandalorians with all of their wild colour combination? Thanks, man. The channel is fun as always. In terms of the Children of the Watch Mandalorians, I think they'd be silly not to do those. That seems like a really easy 4-pack for me. Just repaint a load of the Death Watch Mandalorians. It's pretty simple for them to do that one, isn't it? So I hope they do that. In terms of the 4-pack of Rebel pilots, that's something that I would like them to do. And yeah, it would be a way that they could reuse Antok Merrick for all the people that didn't want to buy the X-Wing. But I think a lot of people would want him carded, and it goes back to that previous question about, you know, do these carded figures get re-released outside of the packaging? Putting them in a 4-pack is a way of doing it, isn't it? I mean, if we look at Reese, for example, Reese was in one of those packs with the Han Solo and Carbonite. He was in the Jabba's Palace. But have they released him single carded? No, they've put him back into a 4-pack. So, but a 4-pack of carded figures rather. But yeah, in terms of Carson Teva and Trapper Wolf, I would personally like them on TVC cards. I think they're big enough characters now in that Mandoverse to warrant that, and hopefully they would be reasonably easy for them to do in terms of repainting an existing pilot. Bill Paul says, hello BB, I know you don't love the retro figures, but are you at least a little pumped about the new 6-pack coming out with R2-D2 and 3PO? I understand you don't mind them when they redo like the ones I've mentioned from the Kenner Palatoy days. Treading lightly here, I know I am. I need to replace some of the weapons I lost from my childhood figs from 1978, Jawa, Obi-Wan and Sam Person. Yeah, and it's a good way of doing that. I mean, as long as people don't sort of try and sell those on as originals and try to con someone, then, you know, I've got no qualms about people using the weapons from this. I did get this. It came through from Hasbro Pulse the other day. Ordered it on May the 4th, and a day later, I think it was, or 2 days later, it arrived in the post. Am I pumped about it? Not really. No, I like these ones that they do, you know, from the original line. But you know, if I'm honest, I've got all of these figures in my vintage line anyway. So I don't know. I don't really know what to think about it. I think I just prefer the box, really. The box art's fantastic for these. I'm not even sure if I'm going to open it. We'll have to wait and see. Depends how much room that I have in my new collection room and what have you. But I can understand why people like them. I much prefer them doing this and hopefully doing characters that we never had before, like Tarkin, as opposed to doing, you know, new media characters in vintage retro style. I don't think there's any point to those, to be honest. Alright then, that is it for this week's episode. I appreciate everybody watching. Drop a like down below if you've enjoyed the video. Subscribe if you're new, and also leave your questions in the comment section below for next week's episode. I want to extend a huge thank you to my Patreon supporters and channel members for supporting me in the way that you do. It is greatly appreciated. And as always, thank you all for watching, and we shall see you on the next one.